This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Scotty doesn't know that Fiona and me do it in my van every Sunday. She tells him she's in church, but she doesn't go. Still she's on her knees, and Scotty doesn't know. Oh, Scotty doesn't know. So don't tell Scotty. Scotty doesn't know. Scotty doesn't know.
Place to Be Nation Pop Experience. Welcome to today's edition of the movie review of the day. I am Andy Atherton, back here with you on another theme week. This week we are all about vacations, being that we are in summer. There's a time of the year kids are out of school, so a lot of people take vacations, then you go here, there, wherever. And for the movie that I'm choosing to talk about, chat about, review, gush over, because I do love this movie, I'm going back to 2004 for EuroTrip. I love this movie. It is so damn funny. It's got one of the catchiest songs ever, and Scotty doesn't know. And it's just fun. And one of the funny things about it, there was not a lot of big names in this movie. There were cameos, and there were some bigger names at the time in smaller roles, but it didn't. I don't think it really did that well in its theatrical run. But it got a following later on home video, on cable, and what have you. I mean, it's one of those movies, and I talk about this often. It's one of those, like, if I'm flipping channels and I come across it, I'm probably going to sit there and watch it for at least a little while, at least. So the log line of this movie is: dumped by his girlfriend, a high school grad decides to embark on an overseas adventure in Europe with his friends. So this is starring Scott Mechlowicz, I guess is his name, Jacob Pitts, Michelle Trachtenberg, Kristin Kreuk, Travis Wester. That's our main kind of group here. Plus, then we have Matt Damon, who, it was a cameo for him. We didn't know he was going to be in this movie. Jessica Boers, I believe is how it's pronounced. She's a German actress. So we also get appearances, and when they're in, they're very funny too. We have Vinnie Jones shows up as Mad Maynard. We have Fred Armisen as the creepy Italian guy. Lucy Lawless as Madame Vandersex. Dietrich Bader plays a mugger in the movie. We get Steve Heitner as the Green Fairy, and Joanna Lumley as a hostel clerk, and Mindy Sterling, an uncredited role as an old woman in confessional, and Jeffrey Tambor as Scotty's dad is another uncredited role. So yeah, this is a lot of fun. I'm going to go through it a little bit just to give you a rundown on it. I mean, the movie came out 20-something years ago, so it got mixed reviews and underperformed at the box office. Like I said, it grossed $22.6 million against a $25 million budget, but again, it did get its classic status through home video. It was considered the spiritual successor to the 2000 DreamWorks film Road Trip, but not originally intended to serve as such, with the original title being Ugly Americans. So before release, DreamWorks deliberately changed the film's title to EuroTrip to capitalize on the success of Road Trip. So we start off in a town in Ohio. Scotty is dumped by his girlfriend Fiona immediately following high school graduation, and you feel so bad for Scotty. Scotty's kind of a bitch though, I think. And then they go to a graduation party that night with his best friend Cooper Harris, who is he's just a troublemaker. Cooper reminds me of one of my fraternity brothers back in the day. And they're all hanging out at this party, and this band starts playing, and the song is dedicated to Fiona, and Matt Damon shows up. That's his cameo as the lead singer of this group. And then Fiona pops up on stage, and he's like, "Happy anniversary." It means that there was something going on with them. And the song Scotty Doesn't Know plays. And Scotty Doesn't Know it is a catchy tune, but it's also very funny because it just shows how dim-witted and oblivious Scotty was. And then he, Scotty ends up getting drunk, and he's angry, and he reads German emails from his German pal Mika, who he calls Mike, expressing sympathy for Scotty and suggests that they meet in person. Cooper suggests that Mike might be a sexual predator, and Scotty tells Mika to stay away from him. Scotty's younger brother, Bert, who is a dick. I can't stand Bert in this movie. He tells Mika, he informs him that Mika is actually a common German feminine name. Realizing Mika's a girl and has feelings for her, Scotty tries to contact her again, and she is this gorgeous blonde, and she blocks his email address. So then he decides to travel to Europe with Cooper to find Mika and apologize in person. They arrive in London, where they befriend the Manchester United football hooligan firm led by Mad Maynard, played by Vinnie Jones, he's hysterical in this movie. After a night of drinking, they wake up on a bus on their way to Paris with the hooligans, and then in Paris they meet up with their classmates, Jenny and Jamie, fraternal twins, who are touring Europe together. Jamie is like the biggest nerd. He has this camera, and he memorized the Frommer's guidebook. And Jenny's just a fun girl who hangs out, and she's like kind of like one of the guys in this movie. So then they end up deciding to accompany Scotty and Cooper to find Mika in Berlin. They end up in Amsterdam first, where Jamie is robbed while having oral sex in an alley, and that loses everybody's money and passports and tickets. Where also Cooper ends up going to Club Vandersex and ends up getting dominated there. And then Scotty and Jenny go to they end up at a Dutch bakery, and they think they're eating pot brownies, and they act all crazy. Actually, there's nothing in them, which is pretty funny. So then they attempt to hitchhike to Berlin, but due to a language misunderstanding, they end up in Bratislava and finding a great exchange rate with the US dollar. They go to a nightclub and they get drunk on absinthe. Jenny and Jamie make out with each other, and they are the worst twins ever. Then they meet a Slovak man who drives them to Berlin. Scotty and Cooper meet Mika's father and her brother. And in a very funny scene, the brother is played with he ends up drawing on under his nose a little stash, and it's very reminiscent to a certain dictator that caused World War II. And he ends up doing like a Nazi march. There are so many little subtle jokes in this movie. It is really funny. So then, then they learn that Mika left for the summer tour group and will only be reachable in Rome for a short time. Jamie sells his Leica camera that he, tutored all these jocks for, and they get plane tickets to Rome. So in Rome, they head to Vatican City, where Mika's touring for a summer at sea inside the Vatican. Scotty and Cooper search for Mika, and they accidentally ring the bell of St. Marco that signals to people that the Pope has died. Jamie and Jenny actually end up on a tour group, and Jamie gives a tour just because he has the guidebook memorized, and it turns out that Arthur Frommer was in the group, which is pretty funny. And then the Swiss guards end up. It's funny. Scotty appears on the balcony and spots Mika and the cheering crowd below to have mistaken him for the newly elected Pope. Which all happens while the current Pope is watching it live on television. The Swiss guards realize what's going on, detain Scotty and Cooper. However, the Man U football hooligans from London suddenly appear and demand the guards release Scotty and Cooper. Scotty finally introduces himself to Mika and confesses his love. She's happy to see him. They end up having sex in the confessional booth. And that's where Mindy Sterling is like outside the whole time. On the flight back to Ohio, Jenny and Cooper give in to their urges and have sex in the join the Mile High Club, basically. And they kind of get together. Jamie ends up staying in Europe after being hired by Arthur Frommer. Scotty then moves to Oberlin College in the fall to begin his freshman year. And during a phone conversation with Cooper, who's now dating Jenny, Cooper asks what Scotty's new roommate looks like. Mika knocks on the door of his room, having been assigned to the same room because of another misunderstanding about her name. They end up getting together and embracing, and the Cooper is calling for Scott on the other end to and then the absent green fairy shows up again, who we had earlier. Absinthe is messed up. I don't think I've ever had it, but it's kind of messed up. But this is a fun movie. That's all it is. It's kind of goofy. But it's got a lot of very funny scenes in it. And I can understand why maybe, theater audiences didn't get it, I guess. But then, as you watch it, it's one of those, like, on the surface, it probably, to somebody who has never seen it, seems like a very stupid movie. It kind of is at times. But once you get in there, it is really funny, well written, well acted. There are so many good jokes in this movie. Like, they do like a lot of sight gags, and it's just a lot of fun. And I really enjoy it, and I hope you do too. And I hope you enjoy this podcast, because we love doing it. All right, so hope you guys are off to a great time this summer and going on vacations, what have you. So we have a couple more coming to you, a few more coming to you this week, actually. I'm trying to look at the schedule we have here. But yeah, and I'll be back on Friday to close out the week. So hope you guys continue to have a wonderful week. Thank you for your support, and we will see you later.